Fire, listen. If you're tired, burnout, or feeling small in this big world, then this video is for you. Raise fist, just the fact that you dare to start already makes you stronger than millions of people out there. People who don't even dare to dream of change. I didn't make this video to entertain. I made it to awaken you, to call you to rise, to act, and to live the extraordinary life you were born for. High voltage, don't look away. The next 30 minutes could be the turning point of your life. And if you stay till the end, I promise you won't be the same person anymore. Microphone Chapter 1, The Fire Within You. You're listening to this not because you're weak, but because something inside you is ready to wake up. I used to be the one sitting quietly in a crowd, listening to someone speak passionately about dreams, about action, about change. And I nodded, confidently, but deep down it was to hide how much I was trembling inside. Because I knew I had dreams too, but I had never dared to begin. And you know what? I understand you deeply, not because I'm standing here today as a speaker, but because I still remember those sleepless nights. Nights when just thinking about starting made my heart race. Even now, as I speak to you, I carry the scars of my past failures. And that's exactly why I want to tell you this. Just the fact that you're thinking of doing something already puts you in the rare 1%. Just the fact that you don't want to live like yesterday makes you braver than a million others. That one fateful night, I remember it like it was yesterday. Lying wide awake, staring at the ceiling, thoughts tangled like a storm. I had less than $35 to my name. A startup idea that wasn't even fully formed. A sick mother in the hospital who needed money. And me, caught in the middle of one question. Should I do it or not? If I did it, I'd have to borrow, risk debt, face failure, and possibly never go back to a stable job. If I didn't, I'd stay safe but slowly die inside every single day. No epic music played. No one called out my name saying, "You can do this." No, it was just me staring into the mirror and not recognizing the person looking back. I saw someone living a life that wasn't his. Someone afraid to truly live. And in that exact moment, I made my choice. Not because I was sure of success, but because I knew if I didn't do it, I'd never know who I really was. The cost of courage. You see, the moment you start something, you think it's just the first step. But in reality, it's the first battle. Because when you begin, this happens. People will ask, "Who do you think you are?" Your parents will sigh. "Why not just settle down?" Your friends will laugh. "Startup? Bro, seriously?" And you'll ask yourself 1,000 times, "Am I crazy?" I've been there. Exactly where you are now. Standing between false safety and raw uncertainty. Between doing nothing wrong and doing something crazy. And I chose crazy because I discovered this. Every person I've ever admired was once called crazy. What are you waiting for? You think you need confidence? No, you don't need confidence to start. You need to start to build confidence. You think you need to be skilled first? No, you need to dive in first to become skilled. You think you're waiting for the perfect time? Let me wake you up. There's no such thing. There will always be reasons to delay. There will always be people who doubt you. And there will always be a voice in your head whispering, "Don't do it. It's too risky." But I'm here to tell you, from all my pain and experience, more dangerous than failure is living a life where you never even tried. Pause. Take a deep breath. Is there something you've been holding in your heart? An idea you once wanted to chase, but never did? A dream from your college days, now buried under dust? If yes, let me tell you, it's still there. It's waiting for you to be brave enough to reach out. And I'll walk with you. This isn't a fairy tale. I won't tell you that success comes overnight, because it doesn't. I won't pretend your life will skyrocket instantly. I've felt so many times. But I can promise you one thing. If you dare to begin, you will not remain the same. You'll start seeing the world differently. You'll discover what's truly in your heart. And you'll finally understand why. Just by daring to act, you're already braver than a million people. Microphone Chapter 2. The 4 invisible walls that kill your dreams. No one locked you in, but you still didn't step out. Why? Because you thought those walls were real. I used to think, if no one stops me, I'll definitely make it. So I blamed my parents. I blamed society. I blamed the lack of money, connections, time. But one day I took a closer look, and I was stunned. No one had tied me down. I was the one who built those walls inside my own head. Today I want to expose them one by one. Not to make you feel ashamed, but to show you you're not alone. We've all been trapped by these four invisible walls. Pushpin wall number 1. I'm afraid of failure. Sound familiar? What if I try and no one supports me? What if I invest money and lose it all? What if people laugh at me? But let me ask you something. Who gets to define failure? If you take action, learn something, and move beyond where you were yesterday, is that really failure? I once opened a small cafe. It shut down after 7 months. I lost my deposit, my capital, and my friends laughed at me. But you know what? I learned how to pick a location. I learned about cash flow. I experienced what it's like to serve real customers. Was that failure? No, it was the best school life ever gave me. It's okay to fear failure, but don't let that fear stop you from living. Pushpin wall number 2. I'm afraid of being judged. This one kills more dreams than any failure ever could. When I first started writing my book, I hid it from everyone. I wrote at night. I emailed my manuscript anonymously to publishers because I was terrified my friends would find out and mock me. Oh wow, off and now, huh? So famous, look at you. EW so cheesy. Even when the book got published, I didn't tell my family. I couldn't admit it was mine. Crazy, right? When I finally gathered the courage to put my real name on it, the first thing an old friend said was, "So you think you're somebody now?" Did it hurt? Yes. But I learned something that day. Whenever you do something meaningful, there will always be people who feel uncomfortable. Not because you're wrong, but because your courage exposes their fear. So don't fear criticism. Fear something worse. Living your whole life by other people's opinions and dying without ever being yourself. Pushpin wall number 3. I'm not good enough. Yet, you think you need to be skilled before you start. But the truth is the opposite. You need to start so you can become skilled. No one begins perfect. I didn't know how to speak in public. I didn't know how to write. I had no clue how to raise capital. But I just did it. Messy, wrong, cringe, embarrassing. And then, slowly I got better. Do you think Elon Musk knew how to build electric cars from day one? Do you think when Hot Dong knew Flappy Bird would go viral? Do you think anyone starts at 100 points? No, they just started, and they kept going. That's why they won. What about you? Have you dared to be bad yet? If not, start by being bad. Being bad is an honor, if you're willing to learn. Pushpin wall number 4. I'm afraid of success. Sounds strange, right? But some people fear their own light. Afraid that if they succeed, they'll have to keep up the image. Afraid that they'll lose friends. Afraid that they won't know what to do next. I've been there. When my first video went viral, 2 million views, I panicked. I turned off all notifications. I went offline, and I asked myself, do I even deserve this? But eventually I realized, success doesn't ask you to be perfect. It only asks you to take responsibility for your light. You have the right to shine. Don't dim yourself just because you think you're not worthy yet. Brain, now it's your turn. Out of the 4 walls above. 1. Fear of failure. 2. Fear of judgment. 3. Fear of not being good enough. 4. Fear of success. Which one is holding you back? Be honest. No one's judging you here. Only when you name your fear can you start to be free. Direct hit, here's what I know for sure. You're not weak. You're not lazy. You're just someone who's been trapped by invisible walls. But today, you have a choice. You can step out. You can move forward with me, because the next chapter will be an even more powerful wake-up call. Microphone Chapter 3. The Silence of a Million, and why you can't wait for their applause to live authentically. Are you waiting for the world to recognize you before you begin? Sorry, you'll be waiting forever. You know, one of the things that breaks my heart the most is seeing talented, kind, passionate people quietly living their lives in the shadows. I ask them why. They say, because no one has acknowledged me yet. No one supports me, so I'm afraid to be wrong. If no one believes in it, then never mind, better not do it. Better not do it. Do those 3 words sound familiar? Pushpin the mindset of wait for support before taking action. I don't blame them. I get it. We grew up in a society that teaches us. You need someone to back you before you act. If you want to do something different, someone else has to pave the way. To live true to yourself, you need others' permission. And so we wait for our parents' approval. Wait for our friends' encouragement. Wait for society's cheer. Wait for a million voices to say in unison, you're doing the right thing. Go live your truth. But that day will never come. Directed honestly, the world doesn't care about your dreams. People are too busy living their own lives. You wait for them to clap, but they don't even have time to look your way. You want to write a book? Someone will say, you're just showing off. You want to quit your job to start a business? Someone will say, are you crazy? You want to speak your mind? Someone will say, who do you think you are? You're not wrong. You're just waiting on the wrong people. Let me tell you a harsh but necessary truth. People only cheer after you win. No one claps when you first start. That's why you need to learn to walk alone at first. You have to learn to believe in yourself, even when no one else does. Brick, every great person started alone. Steve Jobs was fired from the company he founded. Oprah Winfrey was let go by a TV station for being unfit for television. Cristiano Ronaldo once ate tuna sandwiches every day in a tiny dorm room before anyone called him a legend. None of them had applause at the beginning. All they had was stubbornness and the belief that if they didn't do this, they'd die on the inside. Exclamation mark, you have to choose. Live your truth or live to please others. I know, being authentic comes with a cost. You might be misunderstood. You might be abandoned. You might be lonely for a while. But living a lie comes at a cost too. Every morning, you wake up and see a stranger in the mirror. Every night, your heart whispers, this isn't me. Every year, you tell yourself, next year I'll start, but you never do. Which price will you pay? Fire, a true story of mine. I used to have a close friend from middle school. When I started making motivational videos, he messaged me. So you think you're Tony Robbins now? Look at you, acting all cool. I forced a smile and acted like I didn't care. But deep down it hurt. I asked myself, am I on the wrong path? No one's cheering for me. Is this even worth it? But then, one day, I got a message from a university student. Hey, because of your video, I decided not to end my life. Thank you so much. I went silent, and I knew, I don't need applause. I just need to keep going. Collision now is your moment to decide. I won't promise you that life will be easy if you live authentically. I'll only promise you this. It will be worth it. You don't need a million claps. You just need one person brave enough to live true to themselves. And that alone changes the world around them. That person could be you. Love letter at the end of chapter 3. Ask yourself, 1. Are you waiting for someone to give you permission to be yourself? 2. If no one claps, would you still do it? 3. If no one validates you, do you still believe in your worth? If the answer is yes, congratulations. You just found the first truth that will lead you to change your life. End of chapter 3. We're about to enter a very practical chapter. Chapter 4. How to start when you have nothing, no money, no connections, no experience. So, can you still start? The answer is yes. And I'll show you how. Microphone chapter 4. How to start when you have nothing in hand. I have no money, no connections, no experience. I only have one thing. I have myself. Hey friend, maybe right now you're thinking, I really want to start, but I have nothing. Others have money, family backing, supportive friends. But me? I've got nothing. How can I compete with them? I hear you. I understand that feeling. And I want to tell you this from someone who once had nothing, truly. Starting with nothing is how many successful people begin. Pushpin, no money, no connections, no skills. Can you still do something? I started my first job with exactly 412,000 VND in my bank account. No laptop, no vehicle, no connections, no support. Just an old phone and a head full of delusions, grinning face with sweat. But then I discovered something more important than money. The mindset of I'll do it, no matter the conditions. Bricks, so what do you actually need to start? 1. You need a reason big enough. If you're doing it just because it sounds cool, others are getting rich, or just for fun, trust me, you'll quit soon. But if you're doing it because you want your parents to have a proper home, you want your kids to live a better life than you did, you want freedom, you want to lift your head high, you don't want to be looked down on anymore, then you'll stick with it longer than most. Big reason equals big energy. No one starts off skilled, but those with strong reasons, they win. 2. You need to know where to begin. People often get stuck here. Where do I start? What should I do first? There's too much out there. How do I choose? Let me give you a simple approach. Don't pick the perfect thing. Pick the thing you can do right now. Want to write? Write one post. Want to make videos? Use your phone and speak from the heart. Want to sell something? Call the first 5 people you know. Small action, big idea. 3. You need to learn a little every day. Don't sit around waiting to be good enough to begin. Start doing, keep learning, keep tweaking. I used to edit videos on free apps, stumbling through my words, getting laughed at when I posted. But with every video, I fixed one mistake. With every post, I wrote a bit more clearly. 6 months later, people started asking, "Where did you learn to do this?" I didn't study anywhere. I learned on the road. 4. You need patience. Starting a business, pursuing a passion, building a career, it's not an overnight thing. And you will have days when no one reads your posts. Get rejected 10 times in a row by clients. Look at your account balance, only 40,000 VND, and ask yourself, what the hell am I doing? But if you just keep going, you'll get there. I won't promise it'll be fast. I'll only promise this. If you don't give up, you'll go further than 99% of people. Fire, I once saw someone start from zero. A young person once messaged me, "Hey, I'm from the countryside. I dropped out after grade 9. I want to learn digital marketing, but I have no idea where to start." I shared a few free resources and taught some basics. 3 years later, they sent me a message with photos. Their first office space, a team of 6 people, running ads for 20 different brands. I asked, "How did you get through those toughest early days?" They replied with 6 powerful words. I gave myself no other option. Wide heavy checkmark starting from scratch. Here's what you need. 1. A big enough reason. 2. A small action, starting today. 3. Consistent learning, a bit each day. 4. Accepting failure, improving as you go. 5. Patience and no backup plan. You don't need much. You just need to start. And you don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to start exactly as you are now. Love letter at the end of chapter 4. Ask yourself, if you have no money, what do you have that you can use? If no one supports you, can you be your own biggest cheerleader? If you don't know where to begin, can you take just one small step today? End of chapter 4. The next chapter is where things get real. Microphone chapter 5. Want to go fast? Go alone. Want to go far? Bring others. You can't build a big dream with just your 2 hands. Sooner or later, you'll need a team. But that team doesn't magically appear. After you've started, after you've grinded alone, through lonely nights and days when no one believed in you, something strange will begin to happen. People start noticing. Someone messages, "How did you do that?" Someone asks, "Can I learn from you?" Someone watches silently. Let's see how long you can last. And this is when you need to learn a new, critical skill. The skill of leading and building a team. Pushpin, why do you need companions? I know you're strong. I know you're resilient. I know you can do it all yourself. But that's a trap. You can't keep carrying everything forever. You won't be able to grow your career, start up, or dream if you don't learn to build. A team that believes in you. A community that supports you. An ecosystem around the value you're creating. Want to go far? You have to learn to share, guide, and inspire. Brick, so how do you find the right team? 1. Start with yourself. If you want to attract great people, you have to become the kind of person they want to follow. Be honest. Be real. Be genuinely passionate. Help others for real. No one wants to follow someone who preaches like a monk but lives like a clown. But everyone's willing to follow someone who lives true and takes action. 2. Find people with your vibe. not just your skill set. In the beginning, you won't find the best people, because the best, they've got options. But you can find people who have a similar spirit, genuine passion, a hunger to learn, a bit of the same, crazy as you handshake fire. Skills can be taught, heart can't. 3. Don't look for employees, look for visionaries. You don't need a bunch of hired hands. You need people who treat the project like it's their own. To get that, you need to share the story behind what you're building, the long-term vision, why this mission is worth trading their youth for. You have to make them believe. If we don't do this, we're wasting our lives. Warning: beware of people who drag you down. On this journey, you'll meet talented folks who just want the credit, smooth talkers who never do the work, constant critics who never build anything themselves. Stay sharp. People who make you feel stronger, keep them. People who make you doubt yourself, walk away. Choosing teammates is not like choosing drinking buddies. Someone might sit with you at the bar every night, but never help you move 1 inch closer to your dreams. Sparkle's a small team can change your whole life. There was a time I almost quit. No views, no money, endless criticism. I called a friend, someone who'd quietly been watching my journey, and he said, "I know you're tired, but don't stop. You're doing the right thing." A few weeks later, he joined me. No big salary, no contract, just one promise. We'll do this until it works. 3 years later, our 3-person team became a team of 40, and we still hold on to one belief. We do this because we believe, not just for the money. Love letter at the end of chapter 5. Ask yourself, 1. Who's been there every time you fell? 2. Are you walking with people who make you better? 3. Are you willing to open up and let someone walk this journey with you? Into chapter 5. The next chapter is pure fire. Chapter 6. How to keep going when you're tired, doubting yourself, and ready to quit. Everyone hits that wall, but if you break through it, you're no longer ordinary. You become extraordinary. Microphone chapter 6. When you want to quit, this is the moment that defines who you'll become. The moment you most want to quit is the moment you must remember why you started. You've been going, doing, fighting, then one day, out of nowhere, everything starts to feel heavier. The excitement's not like it was in the beginning. Every little step feels 5x harder. Your teammates start having doubts. Results? Nowhere near what you hoped. And the question starts haunting you. Am I wasting my time? I know you're tired. I've been tired too. So tired I just wanted to vanish. But let me tell you something real. Every single successful person has gone through a phase where they wanted to give up. Pushpin, why do we feel like quitting? Because you're walking a road without a map. You're doing things no one taught you. You're fighting every day and no one's clapping. And maybe, just maybe, you've fallen into one of these 3 dangerous mental traps. Warning: trap 1. Everyone's better, faster, smarter than me. You look around at successful people. They speak so confidently. They've got millions of followers. They've raised tons of money for their startups. They're younger than you, older than you, better looking, better educated. And you start killing your own belief with a question. Is there something wrong with me? But listen, comparison is the fastest way to destroy your drive. They've been grinding for 5 years. You just started 5 months ago. You see the results, but you don't see the nights they almost broke from pressure. If you're not careful, comparison will kill your journey before it even begins. Warning: trap 2. I've tried everything, and nothing's working. This one hurts, because it feels so real. I've sat there, staring at a business report, all numbers in red. I've done 30 days of videos, and no one watched. I wrote my first ebook and sold 7 copies. You think, why? Why isn't it working? Why isn't it like I imagined? Let me tell you the truth. This path is not a straight road. You're planting seeds. Some sprout in 3 days. Some take 3 years. Warning: trap 3. I feel alone, like no one gets it. This one runs deep. You might be doing everything right, but if you wake up feeling empty, disconnected, you'll want to stop. I once texted my friend at 3 a.m. I feel like everything I'm doing is pointless. He replied with just one line. No one builds something great without feeling lost at some point. That's exactly why so few make it. Compass, so what do you do when you want to quit? 1. Pause. but don't stop forever. Give yourself space to breathe. Not to quit, but to recover. Take a walk. Write down why you started. Reread the first message of support you ever got. Meet someone who believed in you. You don't need to be strong all the time. You just need to not abandon yourself. 2. Look back at how far you've come. We focus so much on how far we still have to go that we forget we've already gone further than most people even dare to begin. Open your first post. Watch your first video. Look at who you were 6 months ago, and you'll realize, wow, I'm not the same person anymore. 3. Share. Don't carry it all alone. You don't have to hide your exhaustion. Pick someone you trust and just say it. I am tired. I need someone to hear me out. You'll be surprised how many people are ready to listen if you just open up. Lightbulb, a short, true story. I knew a young creator, worked on their TikTok channel for a year. Not a single video went viral. One day, they sent me a message. I think I should stop. I feel useless. I asked, how many videos have you made? They said, 387. I told them, if you've made 387 videos and still have the courage to ask this question, I don't think you're useless. I think you're standing right in front of video 388, the one that changes everything. That day, it didn't quit. Video 389, the first to go viral. 6 months later, they became a mentor to over 1,000 young creators. Love letter at the end of chapter 6. Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly rested? Have you really looked back to see how far you've come? Would you keep going one more step if you knew it could change everything? End of chapter 6. The next chapter takes you to a whole new level. Chapter 7, turning pain into power. How to use your past wounds as an endless source of strength. This is where you realize, not everyone who's been through pain breaks. Some use it as a lever to rise. Microphone, Chapter 7, turning pain into power. The lever of the unbreakable. Scars don't make us weak. They prove we survived. Have you ever thought, if only I didn't have to go through that? If only your childhood wasn't filled with lack? If only your parents didn't divorce? If only you hadn't been betrayed, scammed, or lost all trust? If only that heartbreak didn't leave you completely lost? Yeah, that stuff hurts. But if you look closely, there's a rare type of person in this world. They've suffered deeply, yet they use that pain to rise and heal others. Fire pain is not a burden. It's an asset. I know, that might sound tough to hear, especially if you're still healing. But let's take a step back. The world's greatest speakers, like Tony Robbins, Les Brown, came from dark, broken childhoods. The most inspiring people, usually the most wounded. The greatest authors, therapists, spiritual leaders, all walked out of their own darkness. Why? Because pain forces you to stop living on the surface. It makes you more real, more profound, more empathetic, more alive. Pushpin, what does pain teach us? 1. It sets you apart from the crowd. People who've never suffered don't understand depth. They live shallow, surface-level lives. But you've touched rock bottom. You understand. The silence behind someone's smile, the loneliness in a crowded room, the fear of being abandoned, rejected, forgotten. That's when you begin to develop the heart of a guide. 2. It gives you empathy, something no textbook can teach. When you've been wounded, you stop judging others so quickly. You start asking, where are they hurting that makes them act this way? You learn to listen deeply, to speak with care, to stay silent when needed. This is the trait every leader, founder, healer needs. Empathy born from experience. 3. It lights a fire inside, one that doesn't burn out. You know what it's like to have nothing. You know what it's like to be dismissed. You know how it feels to rise when no one was there to lift you. That's why now, you're not easy to break. Real pain creates unshakable people. You're no longer crushed by criticism, side eyes, or small failures. You've already been through worse and survived. Everything else is just training now. Lightbulb, try this. Rewrite your pain as a gift. Here's a simple exercise that's helped many heal. 1. Write down a pain you can't forget. 2. Note how you felt at that time. 3. Then ask, what did I learn from this? Even just a little. 4. Finally, I'll use this experience to help someone else not suffer the way I did. You'll be surprised. When you write it out, the wound starts healing itself. Sparkle's a true story, not tragic but beautiful. I once met a man in his 40s. He had gone bankrupt. His wife left. He nearly ended his life. He told me, "I lost everything." But lying there on the cold floor, I realized I didn't lose the one thing that mattered, my life. So I got back up, step by step. Every morning, I reminded myself, if I'm still breathing, I could still turn things around. 5 years later, he became a mentor to struggling startup founders, not through flashy speeches, but through real stories and a real heart. Love letter at the end of chapter 7. Ask yourself, is there a wound inside you that's still quietly buried? Have you ever thought, if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't be who I am today? Are you ready to turn your wound into a light for someone else? End of chapter 7. Almost there, my friend. The next chapter takes us into a new realm. Chapter 8. From action taker to inspiring force, building value and leaving a legacy. This is the shift from survivor to wayshower. Not just living for yourself anymore, but living to leave something that lasts. Rocket, want to keep going? This is the final stretch. The legacy chapter. Let's write it together. The world's waiting. Microphone chapter 8. From action taker to inspirer, creating value and leaving a legacy. Ordinary people live to make it through tomorrow. Great ones live to leave behind something that changes the world forever. Just imagine, one day, you're no longer here. No more status updates. No more emails. Not even the phone you're holding right now. The real question is, what did you leave behind? Pushpin, there are 3 types of people in this life. 1. Those who merely exist, eat, work, breathe, and vanish. 2. Those who survive, weather the storms, and leave a few small marks. 3. Those who leave a legacy, turning their lives into a spark that lights up many others. Who do you want to be? If you've made it to this chapter, I know you're not the first type. Now it's time to rise into your highest level, creating impact. Fire, how do you go from taking action to inspiring others? You don't need massive success. You don't need global fame. You don't need 1 million followers. What you do need, to live authentically and share it honestly. To tell your story the way it really happened. To help others save the time, pain, and mistakes you once endured. To inspire doesn't mean to teach. It means to live in such a real way that people look at you and say, if they did it, maybe I can too. Chart increasing, build value. Not just to get rich, but to give more. Money isn't bad. Influence isn't bad. Success isn't bad. They only become toxic when used to inflate the ego. But when used to build schools, feed children, create jobs, spread healthy mindsets, and heal communities, that's true value. You might start as someone who dared to try, but you can end up as someone who changes their whole community. Light bulb, a new way to think about legacy. Not everyone leaves behind a statue, but maybe you were the first in your family to dream. We're the only one in your group who dared to speak the truth. We're the teacher, friend, father, mother who planted a seed when someone else was about to give up. That is a legacy. Seedling one final story to sit with you. There once was a quiet man living in the countryside. He had no fancy education, no major achievements, but every day he planted one tree along the roadside. He did it for over 40 years. When he passed, the entire town came to his funeral. Not because he was rich, but because every single day people walked that road and felt the shade of those trees. Love letter at the end of chapter 8. Ask yourself, if today were your last day, what would you want people to remember? If you were given 5 more years, what project would you begin for your community? Are you already inspiring others just by showing up as you? In chapter 8, you're no longer just someone who wants to act. You already have. You've pushed through the pain. You're sowing value. And most of all, you're rewriting your own definition every single day. Clapperboard epilogue. You dared to act, and that puts you ahead of millions. Just by daring to take the first step, you've already shown more courage than millions who never even let themselves dream. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. That first step, that alone is the game changer. You've already changed. You know it. The only thing left is to see yourself through the right lens. And if someone ever asks me, what makes a person extraordinary? I'd say, it's the moment they stop asking, should I? And start planting small, meaningful actions every single day. Open book up next, the special chapter, kind of like an afterword or bonus chapter, made just for those who don't just want to inspire, but want to fully live out their mission. You ready? Let's go write the legacy chapter of your life. Microphone, Chapter 9, bonus, living your mission fully, becoming unapologetically you. You weren't born to live a life that pleases everyone, but one you simply can't not live. Raised hand, pause for a moment. You faced your fears. You dare to act. You've started to heal. You've begun inspiring and creating impact. But eventually, the old question may come knocking again. Is this really what I was born to do? Direct it between being good at it and being called to it. Which will you choose? You might be amazing at your job. You might make great money. You might receive compliments daily. But if you don't feel alive, if your heart still feels empty at the end of the day, then maybe you're living skillfully, but not living truthfully. High voltage, your mission doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be real. Not everyone is born to save the world, but everyone has something that, when they do it, they lose track of time, feel aligned, get stronger and more radiant the more they do it. Maybe you were born to listen deeply and help others heal. Write words that speak for those who can't. Build systems that improve people's lives. Awaken forgotten dreams in a whole generation. You know what it is. You've just been avoiding it. Compass how to recognize your mission? Here are a few guiding questions. Question what it might reveal. What makes you angry about the world? That might be what you're here to change. What could you do for free for a long time? That might be what your soul is tied to. As a child, what did you dream of doing? Kids are often more honest than adults. What do people often come to you for? That's likely your natural gift. If you were guaranteed success, what would you do? That answer is usually the most honest one. Rick, the biggest barrier isn't fear, it's compromise. Many people don't live out their mission, not because they're scared, but because they fear being judged. They're afraid of standing out too much. They're afraid of going too different from the world. So they go back to the stable job, the reasonable path, the life that makes sense to others, and quietly die on the inside. Fire one life. Who are you living it for? The most important question. Who do you want to write your life story? Society? Your family? Were you? Living without compromise doesn't mean being rebellious. It means living in harmony with your inner voice. Wrapped gift, final exercise. Write your life manifesto. Take 15 minutes and write these down. 1. I was born to. 2. What breaks my heart the most is. 3. I cannot die before I. 4. I will not ask permission to. 5. I commit every day to. It doesn't have to be right. It just has to be real. Stick it somewhere you'll see every day. Collision, one last message for you. You've outgrown your old self. You've defeated procrastination. You've begun the journey. You've made an impact. Now, you're no longer a starter. You're a builder, a fire starter, a way shower, and no one can take that away from you unless you let them. A fire lit from within can never be extinguished. End of chapter 9, but also the beginning of a new journey. Incredible. You're exactly the kind of warrior who doesn't stop when tired, only when it's done.
Checkered Flag, Chapter 10. You are not alone. The world needs you deeply. Don't die with your story still untold. Live to the end and finish writing it. Headphone, have you ever felt like you were different? You think differently. You feel more deeply. You can't stand living a repetitive, mediocre, lifeless existence. You're not alone. You're just someone who woke up earlier than the rest. Milky Way, they don't get you. And that's okay. You probably felt, I'm a weirdo. No one truly understands me. Maybe I should just live like everyone else to make life easier. No, don't shrink. The world needs you to activate the rest of it. Railway track, why you? You've asked, why is everything harder for me? Because the one who carries the torch has to go first. They see the darkness first. They must carve the path where none exists. They get called crazy before others call it brave. You weren't born to walk behind. You were chosen to light the way for those still asleep. Handshake, you are not alone. every soul reading these words, every heart torn between playing safe and living true, every founder out of money, out of strength, but not out of belief. We are a community, a quiet but powerful tribe, unflashy but unbreakable, silent but changing the world through our own lives. Fire now is the time. Flip the switch. This journey means nothing if you don't take action. Here are 5 things I want you to do immediately after this page. 1. Choose a soul project to begin. What makes your heart race? Write it down. Do it. Start today. 2. Share this journey with at least one person. Spread the light. Don't keep it to yourself. 3. Build your own support system. Find like-minded people. If none exist, create them. A small group is enough to spark a revolution. 4. Have a daily conversation with your inner self. 5 minutes each morning. Ask, am I living my calling today? 5. Never ever stay down for long. You're allowed to be tired, allowed to cry, but not allowed to stop. Orange Heart final words. Honest and full of hope. You're not just braver than millions for starting. You're more awake than millions for facing yourself. You are a small light, but placed right, a small light can illuminate a whole dark room. Don't go out. The world needs you. Wrapped gift bonus chapter. This life is yours. Live it without permission. No one gets to approve your dream. You don't need permission to live as your true self. Balloon, you don't need to wait anymore. Let's be honest. How many times have you waited until ready? How often have you delayed for money, the right moment? How many deep breaths were almost action, but never were? Believe me, there's no perfect time. There's only the moment you stop waiting. Firecracker, a brutal but awakening question. If you never do that thing, could you live peacefully to the end of your life? If the answer is no, then begin. Even if you don't have the money, don't have the skills, don't have the support, it's okay. You have what most don't. Fire, flexed biceps spirit, shield, and the courage to live true. Video game life is a playground, not a prison. You weren't born to be a prisoner of social expectations. You are the game designer of your own life. Each day you wake up is a new level, and only you hold the controller. They can judge you, but they can't play your life for you. Hammer and wrench weapons in your hands that you might have forgotten. Imagination to dream up new worlds. Experience to not just learn, but understand. Old wounds, the raw material of your power. Core values, your unshakable compass. Grit, the one thing 99% of quitters never had. DNA, your life is a work of art. No one else can paint your strokes. You don't need to be a copy. You don't need approval. Because this world doesn't need another clone. It's craving a real, raw, radiant version of you. Folded hands if you've read this far. I don't think it's a coincidence. You may be at a turning point in your life. I can't hold your hand. I can't walk it for you. But if you need one last line to carry with you, let be this. No one will hold your hand forever, but you can choose to hold your own and walk like a warrior who needs no audience. Seedling the finale, from a small spark to a holy flame. Life is not measured by years, but by how many people are lit up by your light. Lightbulb, now you know. You don't need permission to live right. Just daring to start already sets you apart. Your scars are not your weakness. They're your steel. Entrepreneurship is not just business. It's rebuilding life on your terms. But there's one more truth. Compass, after the awakening comes daily action. No one keeps their fire alive without adding wood. You might be awakened, but staying lit is another art. Here's a daily ritual to keep your inner fire burning. Repeat button 5 minutes every morning. Ignite your vision. Some behind small cloud ask, what am I living for today? Writing hand, write down one sentence. Short, but real. Person walking, then move like it's the only thing that matters. Repeat button 5 minutes every night. Return to your soul. Crescent moon ask, was I true to myself today? No judgment, no blame. Just observe. Ceiling not perfect? Tomorrow is a new chance. Brain weekly. Reset your compass. Calendar 30 minutes. Turn off all devices. Speech balloon. Ask yourself, am I moving in the right direction? What needs to go? What must I finally face with courage? Write it down. Commit. Act. Speaking head then. Become the one who lights others. A single candle can light 1,000 others without losing its flame. Tell your story. Speak what once scared you. Show up as living proof that living true is possible and worth it. Microphone your future, ready to be written. You can be a voice that inspires. Launch a podcast, a video series, or your first book. Lead a community of like-hearted souls. Redesign your life beyond survival into true creation. Glowing Star legendary closing line. When you dare to live as yourself, you not only transform your life, you give others permission to do the same. You're not just a startup founder. You're not just a survivor. You are a creator, an INFLUENCER, a rule rewriter. Fire. If you made it this far, you're no longer the same person. You're part of the rare few who dare to live differently, who dare to start, who dare to rise. Raised fist, don't let today be just something you watched. Take action. One comment, one share, or simply starting that thing you've always postponed could be enough to change your life. Rock it. And if you want to keep walking this journey, deep, real, and soul-stirring, back into index pointing right, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any video that might shift the way you live one day at a time. Speech Balloon, I'm your name, Steven, and we'll meet again in the places where real ones are building the extraordinary.